Except China must go along world trend. That's openness, democracy, rule of law. There's no other way. The very powerful Soviet Union changed. That change really brought a lot of sort of fear in China. So accordingly they make a lot of sort of that restriction. But now 21st century, the time for century of information, very difficult to control everything. So things will changing. So that's a hopeful sign. Meanwhile, Tibetan spirit inside Tibet extremely strong. Then also the last about over 2 years, we noticed over around 1,000 articles in Chinese language wrote by Chinese. All of them fully support about our middle wave approach and very much critical about their own government policy, like that. This is very encouraging.
More questions? Anyone?
No question?
I will ask.
Silent meditation.
I will ask myself. Do you consider it possible that the same fate will wait to China that was the fate of the Soviet Union? I mean, we are celebrating the collapse of the Soviet Union, 20 years of it these days. Do you think the same thing can happen to China, or is it likely that China will democratize, remaining intact?
Yes, basically, as I mentioned earlier, the totalitarian system, no future. However, there's big differences. Soviet Union, the economic difficulties. China, economic condition much improved. So ordinary millions of Chinese, some kind of sort of satisfaction. Their day-to-day life much improved. And then I think they control people. Sometimes I feel the Russian bear is a little bit, compared Chinese dragon, the Russian bear is a little bit more honest. One sort of reason during Soviet Union, Sakharov came. I met few occasions the Sakharov wife. Now she also passed away. Very sad. And then 가서 바스티나사래. 바스티나사 지사 우스미와 텔청에 가서
Socialism.
Correct, socialism, yes. So you see, few individuals who express this in more sort of freely in Soviet Union, possible. In China, impossible. And then, during Soviet Union, under the leadership of Lenin, Soviet Constitution actually courageously mentioned different republics also have the right to become independent. Chinese Constitution never say that. And then also, in Soviet Union sort of case, the very name of Soviet Union, Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, no word of Russia. China, People's Republic of China. Tibetans are not Chinese, but they use the China. So, I don't know, I think you may not agree that, because you suffer under Soviet control. But me, from distance, looks Soviet. And then also those who say republics, they still kept the local language, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, karmic here. These are the local word is kept. Chinese, Xizang, Chinese word, not Tibetan. We have our own sort of word. They never use per. Xizang. Like that, in Xinjiang, Chinese word, not Uyghur language. So like that, you see, in Chinese case, you see, they are sort of,
domination.
even language, even name. Nowadays, many parts of Tibet, the Chinese give new name. Recently, one Tibetan who visited Tibet, he told me, when he referred the name of his own sort of area, original name, nobody knows. Because recent times the Chinese give new name. I think we can it can understandable. Tibetan word, Chinese tongue, difficult to pronounce. So they prefer one Chinese word that's more easier. Like Sarah. They never speak properly Ra. So instead of Sarah, they usually say Sela like that. So they prefer, you see, new name which they can pronounce properly, like that. So they collapse, like Soviet Union. I think take time. Not easy. But difficult to predict. And then also, you see, I have some sort of different views. In China, the totalitarian system collapsed overnight. Then there could be a lot of chaotic situation that nobody's interest. So gradual change is better. So for that reason, I expressing now these days, last few years, I'm not sort of asking Chinese brothers, sisters, when I met, you must sort of develop democracy overnight. I never said that. I mentioned it may not be interest, not only Chinese, but also neighboring states. So gradual change. Now, in any way, China must sort of take action, initiative that free information, no censorship. Reason I usually mention, 1.3 billion Chinese people have every right to know the reality. Then 1.3 billion Chinese people, once they know the reality, they also have the ability to judge what is wrong, what is right. So therefore, censorship, created distorted information, is immoral. Actually, they always call people's government, people's republic. There's no basis to fool their own people, isn't it? Censorship cannot sort of censor outside the world, only within China. We notice, you see, even government magazines or some news, there are differences in Tibetan language, and locally, and Chinese language, and English language, even from same source, same department, differences. So they always, you see, something hide, something exaggerate, always do that. So that's fooling their own people. So the censorship must stop, must give free information. Then the Chinese judiciary system must reach the standard. Must improve, reach the international standard of legal system, which is independent from the government. Even American president sometimes lives with the difficulties. And then Taiwan's former president now become prisoner.